Hey everyone, and welcome to Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and today I'm joined by...
Nerdarchist Dave.
And you know what time it is? It's another recap, review, Critical Role, Campaign 2, Episode 9. Jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. Get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with us.
All right, so it's that time again. We're going to talk about Critical Role. I believe we're on like episode 9 now.
Campaign 2, Episode 9.
I'm going to start losing track. I'm going to need a cheat sheet somewhere to know what episode we're doing.
Well, it's funny is the day that we're recording this because our recording schedule kind of got messed up because we went to Concoction last weekend. It's like you started listening to this episode on the ride home.
Yes.
I listened to it Monday. It's now Friday, so I'm starting to listen to episode 10. So I have to keep in my brain of what happened, what I listened to Monday versus what is happening in the episode I'm watching now.
Did you properly partition off your hard drive before we began?
No.
Is that even still a thing? Do people still do that?
I imagine they do that in computers, but I can't do it to my brain.
Oh, all right. Too bad. Maybe we can get in there and make that happen. So first off, I want to start off by giving a big FU to all the people out there that says that Critical Role is not a real D&D game and these are not real D&D players. You're laughing because you don't pay attention to social media, but there's been a whole thing about this lately, and I'm like, you know what? The first thing I think of when we get an episode like episode 9, and there was another one that was very similar, where nothing really happens. That is D&D, right? That's when you're sitting around with your friends, you're playing D&D, and these are not the most exciting episodes to watch, in my opinion. But they're great to play in. I've played in many of them. I've run many of them. That is D&D. That's what happens when you run an organic D&D campaign. At some point, your players are going to dick around all session for 5 hours, 6 hours, and not do a thing that really matters to any kind of story arc. I mean, they have a great overarching story going right now anyway. But some sessions when you play D&D and role-playing games, they just meandered. That's the nature of it. It's fun.
The story doesn't progress, but everybody has fun, and everybody does little nuanced things, little things that they're interested in doing. It's like, oh, well, this is important to my character. So far we've seen time and time again, episode after episode, these guys are really in it for the coin. They want the gold pieces, they want treasure, and little minutia over let's haggle over the cost of a dented short sword. It's important to these guys. So you know what? This is kind of what happens in this episode.
So, and with each episode leading up to this one, and this one included, it really is starting to get cemented that the moral conscious to this adventuring party is Mollymauk. Yeah, he's kind of he can be a little shifty because they're all kind of shifty. But he really is the one that does have a moral compass, and he's trying to advise Nott and teach her how to, how to be more discriminating in her larcenous activities. So that was really cool, and the way that Marisha's playing Beau, and that's coming off, and the little things in the conversation, and hey, you kind of come off as a dick, and she's like, really? What do you mean? and Fjord is just no, really, I know you're not, but maybe you could smile, a little enthusiasm, and then Cal's like, why are you shouting at me? So there's definitely some fun moments in this episode.
So I liked the interaction with the town crier. Town criers, they go around and they talk about what's going on, and they cry, they shout it out. So that's where you get your news. And in medieval times, that's how people knew what was going on. They didn't have newspapers that were passed around. Well, when they talk about the attacks in Allfield being thwarted, it was dealt by the town guard.
Thank God for the town guard.
And Jester was kind of affronted by it. It was like, wait a second, we did that. So
by the Empire.
Right. But she was affronted by it, so she kind of confronts the guy.
Well, she was egged on a little bit by Fjord, and Mollymauk and her kind of talking, and before the discussion could finish, she marches off to do something about it.
So she winds up having a conversation with the guy, and he really wants nothing to do with this wacky tiefling. And after a while, he does kind of just skate off. But he's like, if you want to do anything about it, you need to go talk to my boss, over at town hall. And it's like, wow.
And Jester is like, well, I don't want you, by the time we get there, you're going to give this news all over the place, and then it's wrong.
You're going to have to print a retraction
on your article.
I'm like, oh my God.
I hate when that happens. Retractions and stuff.
So like that part was amusing to me, listening to it. As I said, they do wind up going to the blacksmith, and they begin haggling over the different things. They have the chains from the manticore that were pretty heavy, and the smith they go to seems slightly interested in that, and he winds up making a deal. They get some coin, and Jester gets a new hand axe, and I don't know why she was so concerned about I need a new weapon. I mean.
Well, I think because the sickle is not very good, damage wise, and then for the most part she had been using spells, and then she realized, wait a minute, I might actually need to use a weapon at some point. It came up. So she's trying to fix it.
So then they, I think it actually kind of started off at the Leaky Cauldron, or the Leaky Tap. Leaky Cauldron's a Harry Potter thing. The Leaky Tap, where Jester winds up, getting into a hand of cards, and she attempted to cheat
badly,
and she didn't do so well with it. So she just lost money on the whole ordeal. But thankfully, the guys that she was playing with didn't get into a fight with it.
Yeah, or turn them in or anything like that. They just took all of the money instead.
They just took the money.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff like that was going on. They got to meet with their contact, the name that was given to them from Allfield. So with that, that gave them kind of a little bit of the lay of the land. So that was cool. They did the scene with what would you call them? Not resistance, not rebels, but they're kind of like revolutionaries, and they're kind of mean rabble rousers, and they like sort of infiltrated the meeting. I want to say.
I would call it infiltrated the meeting. They went down and they're like,
joined the meeting.
We got some similar viewpoints here, and then it became a quandary at the end of like, okay, some people are like, let's turn them in, and other people are like, absolutely not.
I think it was only Nott that wanted to turn them in. Nott was like, that's a lot of money. We can get paid for all of them and be heroes again of the town.
So as they're wandering about the town, they do find a little pegboard, a little signpost with the different jobs and stuff that are available. And just like the town crier, it's like, go to this central, town hall type location and, report in. But they said, in order to do so, they wanted to get a bath first. And this is where some more hilarity ensues as the six of them head into the bathhouse, go in the common room, and see a familiar face.
Yasha reappears in the bathhouse, which is kind of funny, which, was instigated by Mollymauk. And he's like, absolutely, we need to all bathe, and we all need to bathe together.
What did he say? Some inappropriate nudity?
Yes. So that was a really good scene. And then bathing Nott and getting Nott to come in the water. And it's
let's see here. Jester does a cannonball into it. Nott's afraid of the water, and Beau starts teaching her how to swim.
It was Beau and Fjord. They both do it together, I believe. And if you have kids or maybe like a younger sibling or nieces or nephews or something, you may have gone through this where you're like trying to get them acclimated to water and teach them. But they're doing this with Nott, who's a full-grown goblin, we suspect, which is hilarious. And at one point they finally just dunk her. And I was expecting for them to like blow in Nott's face first, to blow in the face like you would with a baby. But they dunk Nott, and then they pull her out, and she comes up, I'll kill you all, I'll kill you. It was hilarious.
I know that like they're all supposed to be naked and whatever at this point in time, but she's a rogue. I absolutely, when I'm watching that, I envision that a knife materializes out of nowhere, and she's pointing at the other two.
She was wearing an illusion, like she took off her clothes, as you assume all of them, but maybe she had a sheath knife still. Could have possibly. Oh, that reminds me, Nott, Sam does such a great job with Nott. Nott, her antics are always so funny. When Jester lost all the money and they were leaving, Nott's like, should we go kill them?
Yeah.
Deadpan serious.
It's like, we could kill them and get all the money back. It's like, whoa.
And Nott was very, very for turning people in. So Nott is still trying to figure out the niceties of polite society. She's working her way through them. She's gonna get it. Got a lot of confidence and faith.
Yeah, and then once everybody's decided they've had their fill of the bathhouse, it becomes a contest of wills between Beau and Yasha as to who's going to be the last one standing, or technically the last one bathing.
Yeah. Beau won. She got to see everyone naked. Mission accomplished. Which also brings us to one of Liam's very important missions throughout this episode, and that was to procure pornography.
So, leaving the bathhouse, everybody is as clean as they're possibly going to be, and Caleb and Jester decide that they're going to head over into the Tri-Spire. Jester's looking to go to the Pillow Trove to get mail that hopefully is being delivered by her mother, while Caleb wants to go to Chastity's Nook to be able to find some dirty smut, as he called it. Meanwhile, the other 5 now at this point in time are going to head towards Town Hall to try and procure the job of, let's go kill some foul beastie. Now, as Jester and Caleb approach Tri-Spire, they are instantly met by a town guardsman, pair of them, and there's like, nope, you can't enter here. Jester actually rolls really well on her persuasion check, saying, I have business at the Pillow Trove. And he's like, well, you can go, but he can't.
He looks like a hobo. No.
She's like, well, I did kind of hire him to be my bodyguard. And he's like, well, he ain't getting in there. There's a certain decorum that we're supposed to uphold, and he don't meet it.
Yeah, so she basically makes that guard become her bodyguard and escort her.
So the guard that remains winds up whistling a new guard down. Meanwhile, Caleb slinks off into an alleyway. He sends Frumpkin in, who quickly gets met by the town guard and his boot. And that guard winds up kicking Frumpkin into oblivion because it did a single point of damage, which is all Frumpkin could take. So he kicks the cat. The cat literally just vanishes, utterly to the bewilderment of the guard. I thought it was, pretty hysterical when that happened. Sad for the characters that are there, but from watching perspective, quite amusing. We then wind up, Caleb winds up doing Disguise Self, and here's where we get to see the ingrained magic of, Talidore, in the Tri-Spire, because his spell, once he gets up to the gates, dissipates without his knowledge. So while he makes himself all frou-frou noble-like, it isn't there, and he's like, I got a meeting. Oh, crap, that's my regular crappy brown sleeve. I'm just going to go now.
And the guards, heckle him and make fun of him as he tries.
Oh, quick meeting there, eh? Quick effing meeting. So I thought that was, was pretty hysterical. Jester then heads to the Pillow Trove, and here is where something interesting happened, which, I'm not certain, who wound up picking up on this and who didn't, but Jester winds up getting into a conversation with, the head maid there, or whatever you want to call the person in charge, and she's like, there's a package that's supposed to be here for Jester. Person looks, can't find anything. She gives her a different name, doesn't come anything. Gives her a third name, Ruby of the Sea, and it's like, I'm sorry, I don't have anything for or from any of the names that you've provided. Now, Dave's talking earlier about, we think there was something, some cool information there. We want to make sure that we call out that proper name. So, since we had both already watched it at this point in time, I'm like, well, maybe some other blog, some other person, who's done a review on episode 9 already, caught this. And I started looking around. I went to 6 different blog sites that did a review of, campaign 2, episode 9. And while most of them call out this specific scene, and the use of multiple names, nobody actually grabbed what the name that Jester used after she said Jester. So I kind of thought that was kind of amusing. So I actually went back and watched that portion of the episode again, and she gave out the name Lavore, and perhaps that might be Jester's real name.
Could be Jester's real name. Could be the Ruby of the Sea's real name. We don't really know. But we do have another piece of information that we can stash away until later and be like, aha, I knew it.
So I like,
We'll crack the case.
I like when we come across background information just piece by piece, these little bits of information that, may be important. It may not be important. But as we dive into, all of the stuff, it's kind of cool. I looked at the Critical Role wiki. Wasn't listed there. Yeah, I did wind up finding that, they have character sheets, equipment lists that gets updated, every so often because the ribbon that was on her one horn that she tied to the halberd
is gone.
It's crossed off. Like it was there.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
It was obtained, it had information on it like, oh, this was gotten here, which I'm guessing was like the background quest that they did. And like it's crossed off with tied to such and such, now gone. And I'm like, that's kind of
No,
cool.
it happened during campaign 2 somewhere because I remember tying it to her horn.
Okay.
During one of the episodes.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you which one or where they got it from, but I remember it being tied.
Okay. So, after this, she winds up, realizing that, okay, there is no package for her here. She's a little sad. And like, I really applauded the level of role playing that Laura was doing here, because it's like, she's role playing throughout all of this, but it's like, she's trying to be disappointed and hide it at the same time. So I thought that was really cool. So she winds up getting a room there just so that if something were to show up, they'd have a place to send it, which I thought was kind of cool. And then it kind of ends with, a pretty cool scene.
Also, we learned like some more details about the Empire and the world. Like the Empire is always seeking people who are speaking out against them. Like half the jobs that they're going to take were for information. Was one of the things we learned that it was illegal to worship any of the unsanctioned deities, which Jester does. The Traveler's not sanctioned. Yasha does because Stormbringer or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. Storm something. Should have went and checked that beforehand. What was another deity that's followed is also not on the list, so they're going to have to be kind of careful there.
Speaking of the Traveler, we actually get to see a physical manifestation of said Traveler, which we find out is nothing more than a man-sized shape in a dark green cloak, and she even says that she doesn't really get to see his face, but it's something that, all right, he talks to her and kind of lets her know, like, your mom doesn't know, your mom isn't aware of what's going on here. So like, to me, I kind of thought it was supposed to be like the whole, all right, there little girl, you're not getting any help from your mom, it's all on you now, was my takeaway from it.
It could be a manifestation of the Traveler. It could be a manifestation of an imaginary friend like character from Jester. It could be Jester's subconsciousness speaking back to her and giving her information that she knows that she doesn't really want to admit.
Right.
Or it could literally be a divine emissary or something along those lines. Only time will tell as that plays out. We got to see the Mighty Nine, sign up for one of the jobs or like take down a beast in the sewers. Probably in our wheelhouse, we can do this. We kill monsters. And then they had to go through like this process of getting a permit to do something, a writ, in order to go do it.
And they needed a writ to actually be able to go underneath the city. All of the sewer grates are locked, and only certain town guard have the keys. So in order to be able to get down there, they need to be able to present the writ, which has names on it. And just the exchange of like who was being put on the writ was kind of amusing, because there's only 5 of them that are there. They use the term Mighty Nine, And the guy's like, okay, well, there's only 5 of you, so who are the other 4? And it's like, well, I don't think we're all going to go. How about we just give you the 7 names? And
Well, at first they were trying to shice their way through. They're like, we should get more gold because there's more of us. They weren't having any of that. And I'm like, well, just put the Mighty Nine down. And they're like, no, we need individual names. So they all give fake names in order to get through there.
So, like, I thought that was all of that amusing. So, all told, 7 fake names that wind up, getting put on the writ to be able to go into the sewers.
And half of them are media personalities. So one of them started a joke, the running joke, and they just all started running with it. So that was pretty funny. So, like I said, all in all, nothing really happened in this episode. It was just them like role playing with each other and some of the NPCs. Making connections. We learned a little bit more about the world. Matt's been doing a really good job with introducing us to Tal'Dorei, and I believe this is a different area as well. So, we're getting to learn about it alongside the players, and he's definitely does it in a great way where it's not like a dissertation of him just blah 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 on his players for 45 minutes, putting them to sleep. They like interact with the world and they kind of learn about different things, and at the same time we're learning alongside him. So I like the way he's doing that a lot. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I can tell you that there is definitely some action in the next episode.
You think so? You started watching already.
So I won't say anything more than that.
What kind of action? Because Jester was expecting orgies in this one, which may or may not have happened.
Well, if any orgies were going to happen, I would have imagined that it was going to happen at the bathhouse.
No, that's not where she imagined them happening. The secret meeting when they followed them down, she's like, I know it was an orgy down there in the secret meeting, and then like they had Frumpkin go and infiltrate as well as Beau and Fjord, and then they came back and they're like, it was totally an orgy. And then Calum's like, they're completely lying to you. And then they're like, oh no, it was an orgy. And Fjord and Jester's like, well, usually if you go to those kind of things, you have to participate. And they talked about maple syrup and all kinds of things like that. And Cal was like, where's the maple syrup? They don't look very sticky. And they're like tongue baths. So they got a little wild and crazy.
I guess I kind of glossed over that part.
Oh, yeah, that was totally a thing. And then Nott's nickname, a new nickname for part of the episode anyway, Ford Focus.
Yes.
When she takes on the appearance of Ford, but like a mini Ford. Or a Ford Fiesta. So like they're really having a lot of fun with the Ford jokes.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that aspect of it. I mean, to me, I like the little out of game puns that are related to the in game stuff. Now I know some people, they don't care for out of game stuff, but if that's going to be your cup of tea, then I don't think this is this is going to be not going to be in your wheelhouse.
So I know early on Mollymauk was one of your least favorites. Is he coming around, or is he still at the bottom of the pile?
No, I wouldn't be able to properly rank the
past Nott and Jester.
Past Nott and Jester.
They're all just in a critical role pile.
Everybody else is in second place. Like every once in a while, somebody will do something. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I like that, or what have you. Knowing that, Yasha is in, episode 9 and episode 10, that was something to really look forward to. I'm looking to try and get more information on her character because she's not going to be there, as often. So that kind of stuff is cool.
Yeah, I think it really is great the way we get these little tidbits and the characters are developing, and all the players are really doing a good job of adding dimensions to their characters, as the sessions go on. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of the game.
Yeah, so the question is, what do you guys think? How serious are you into Critical Role? Have we convinced you to watch it? Have you convinced us to watch it? What's your take? What's your standpoint? Down in the comments below. That's where you can continue that conversation. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Check out the store over at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.